So I left the meeting earlier today, and one of the questions that constantly comes up in these meetings is what kind of campaigns are we going to do? Or what kind of content are we going to do? Or starting to think about styles and ideas really, really early. And I just wanted to make a video about this because it comes up so often in these conversations, especially when you're working with a new client and you're talking about making photos or videos or whatever the case may be. A lot of the questions is, what are these photos and videos going to be? Now, obviously, it's important to pull references. It's important to look at photos of from other brands that you are inspired by, and colors, and make mood boards and all of that stuff. And this is what I told them, so this is what I'm going to tell you too, is that as much as you can sit around and think, we're going to do this kind of campaign or that kind of campaign, at the end of the day, you will not know until you do your brand meeting. Now, that meeting might be an hour, it could be a day, it could be a week. Sometimes it's hard to get people to sit down and talk about their brand for longer than an hour, which I don't quite understand because I think that sometimes these meetings take a really long time. Again, up to a week. There's even brands that have full year stuff, obviously, as people know. They're working all year, making brand ideas, coming up with concepts. So that meeting informs what content you're going to do, what kind of photos, what they're going to look like, what the copy is going to say. If you're talking about a full campaign, which might involve a commercial video or photography, or even print. I mean, we mainly work in digital, but even print, you're not going to know what that is until you have a solid idea of your brand. And a lot of brands think they do have a solid idea of their brand. Maybe it's an older idea, or maybe it's the fact that they have a certain name, or they have a logo, or maybe they even have a mission statement or something, right, or like a credo. But ultimately, that stuff can go way, way, way deeper, and it informs your content really strongly. And the reason I think this is such an important point, as someone who started off as just like a Facebook advertiser, running Facebook campaigns, it became really clear over the years that your Facebook ads are only as strong as your creative, which is the actual content of the ads themselves, the video, the photos, the messaging. But your creative is only as strong as your understanding of your brand, which is the values, the mission statement, beyond that, like the purpose, the drivers. What are you? What are you not? What are people buying into when they purchase your product or engage with your brand? That's going to inform the creative way more than anything ever could. And until you have that meeting, you just won't know what those campaigns are going to be. You just won't know. You can shoot in the dark and say, yeah, we kind of like this idea, let's just go with that. But in my experience, that's never going to be as strong as having something written down, having at least a conversation about what are we trying to say, who are we saying it to, and then marking that content off against those ideas. Because, well, basically, I just said because. It's going to save you a ton of time. Your stuff's going to be way better. I'll use one example before I get off this. Like, you look at a brand like Nike. Yeah, they could say, what are our campaigns going to be? And I'm sure they do say that every time they sit down to do a new creative campaign, or they're going to run social media ads, or they're going to put some kind of messaging into the marketplace. But ultimately, they have years of brand guidelines mapped out. They know that their core message is anyone can be an athlete, let's say, or athleticism and activity are fundamental to happiness, or the promise of Nike. I haven't dived into their brand guidelines deeply, but could be Nike empowers people to feel more more able, or more athletic, or even more attractive, or more fashionable. When you have those drivers down and you have all that stuff down, well, now, okay, it makes much more sense how you're going to do your creative. We're going to create content, whether that's in video form, for TV spots, for social media, through our imagery, through who we hire, through the models we use, through the way we set up our lifestyle editorials, are going to reflect that message. So I just wanted to say a little quick thing on that, because it just always comes up in every single meeting, I feel like, and so that must mean that some people might have that question. So hopefully that was somewhat informative, and talking about branding is always great.